Fantastic. Let's get started.
Lovely. Hi, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, as Mohammed introduced the topic, I'm going to talk about the importance of teachers' social and emotional competence. So, can you define social and emotional intelligence or competence? Why do you think this is important in the classroom? So if you have any idea, you can drop your comment in the chat box about what is social and emotional intelligence for you. So when we talk about social and emotional intelligence, some people believe in being sensitive, in having feelings, and being a kind person when thinking about this. Also, sometimes said about controlling our inner emotions and not allowing them to drive us. There has been much research about this topic since a long time, and it's continued to be studied nowadays. So, emotional intelligence could be meaningful. For example, we found this definition that said emotional intelligence consists of adaptive emotional functioning involving interrelated competencies relating to perception, understanding, utilizing, and managing emotions in the self and others. So, according to this author, there is a strong connection between emotions, competencies, and management as well. In addition to this definition, as I mentioned that a lot of studies have been made, we found another definition that is the ability to understand and feel our own emotions. This is critical for understanding and empathizing with the emotion of others, according to Goleman. So, in connection to this, again, abilities and understanding are taking relevance in this topic. So we could say that it is relevant to understand ourselves in order to know and understand others. And now you will see why it's very important for teachers to have this competence. On one hand, an intelligent concept has to do with emotions. Sample adds meaning to each of the other words that concern is emotions. Refers to the feeling, reactions a person has, often in response to a real or imagined relationship. So, on the other hand, intelligence refers to the ability to reason validity with others, with and about something that is emotional intelligent, as measured by the MSCEIT, that is the Meyer-Salisbury-Caruso Emotional Intelligence Test, refers to the capacity to reason with emotional signals and to the capacity of emotion to engage thoughts. And here I'm going to show you what is worth diving deep in its use and meaning for our lives, which are the competencies or abilities that we are developing with emotional intelligence. Meyer and Salisbury define these specific abilities and the ability to perceive emotions, to access and generate emotions, so as to access thoughts, to understand emotions and emotional knowledge, and to reflectively regulate emotions and to promote emotional and intellectual growth. And here we can see the chart charge emotional intelligence. We have perceiving emotions, estimation, facilitating thought, understanding emotion, and managing emotion, our inner emotions, and not let them drive us. And Goleman mentioned that most elements of every emotional intelligent model fit within these four genetic domains: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. The author cited self and society every moment, so I consider these two words highlighted as inseparable words that we want to refer to emotional intelligence. So here we can see the wheel. We have social and emotional learnings. We have the self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skill, responsible decision making. And then we have the social and emotional learning instruction and classroom climate that is concerned to us. School-wide culture, practices, and policies, authentic partnership, aligned learning opportunities. And we have from classroom, the school, families, caregivers, and communities. So the main domain that I concern here that I'd like to highlight is social awareness, including its core skill that is empathy, that Goleman defined as sensing what others are thinking and feeling without them telling us in words. And the author classifies the ability, empathy, in three kinds of empathy. We have cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, and empathic concern. The first one, cognitive empathy, means I know how you see the things. I can see from your perspective. I can see from your point of view. This is the cognitive empathy. The next one, the emotional empathy, is after seeing from your perspective, I can feel with you. This is the basis for rapport and chemistry. People who excel in emotional empathy, sense in the moment how others are reacting. So not only I see from your perspective, but also I can feel with you what you are feeling. And the last one, empathic concern, means after seeing from your point of view, after feeling with you, I am ready to give it, to help. I sense you need some help, and I will help you. This is the three kinds of empathy according to the author Goleman. And why we talk about all those kind of stuff? Because we as a teacher, we need to take into account this, and we have some tips that we can put into action. So our teacher training tips is, as a teacher and trainer, it is suitable to learn about emotional intelligence, to have this emotional competence and its outcomes in student learning. It is recommended to introduce the topic as well as activities during the first part of the term and keep them until the end. And here I want to talk and I want to share with you something that's happened to me. For example, that I teach English to adults, and I never finish the term, let's say a year, because we teach different levels, and our program is 14 weeks, so it's more or less 3 weeks and a half, 3 months and a half together. And also always we have new students, newcomers. So may we start in our program and we finish the 14 weeks, but the students change. I mean, we don't have the same student, hopefully, because it means they are moving to a different level. So they don't need to finish the 14 weeks. Sometimes they are moved to upper intermediate or advanced before finishing the 14 weeks because they are ready to do it. And yeah, sometimes when we want to introduce some topics or carry out any kind of plan, it's not the same if you have the opportunity to keep the same group during the whole term, let's say a semester or a year. So it could be the best way. But always we can start, and the most important thing is that the student can pick up something at least. And the next one, some self-care activities. They are adapted from Chicago Public Schools to work with the student in person or online, because nowadays, as we are having this conference online, so many times could be in person, many times could be online, but we can adapt them both perfectly. So what is easier for you to recognize the difference or the similarities with the others? What I usually do with the students in order to approach this topic is talking about the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, through different short videos, so we can create kind of empathy and we can develop better the topic. So also explain, how do you recognize the other's feelings? This is a good question. What I usually do, or what I started to do it, better said, is ask questions to let the student think about instead of giving the answer, because sometimes I tend to give them the answer or say, well, this is a good way to recognize feelings. What do you think? Do you agree? You don't agree? Done. But then I thought, no, it's better if I just ask an open question and they can discuss in pairs or in groups. So they can bring ideas or experiences that we don't imagine, because every day the students surprise me a lot. And yesterday, when we were talking about teaching and learning, and the students say, you are the teacher, we are the learners, and I say, yeah, you're right, but believe me that many times we as a teacher, we learn more from you, because they teach me a lot about different cultures, because I teach a student from different cultures, different countries, different languages, different point of view. So this is empathy as well. Then before acting, do you think how the other person could feel? So of course that our actions or the result will not depend 100% of our actions, because we have a lot of factors that could be in between. But at least we have to act according to their beliefs, cultures, language, uh, without the intention of offending people. What do you do during the week to nurture your spiritual health? Some people prefer to meditate, to do yoga, to play in sport, to watch series, to read a book, to be in silence for a while, to chat with their family or friends, to cook, to write, to take photograph, to walk in the park. Then how do you make time for exercise, and what kind of exercise do you like to do? Again, according to the culture, to the customs, to the possibilities. could be different. For example, yesterday I realized that people from Mongolia, they are fan of basketball. Like in Argentina, they are fan of football. I didn't know because they started to say, I played basketball, and I said, wow, but it's so popular basketball in your country. Yes, it is. So then how do you care for yourself when you have had lots of homework to do? This made me think about discipline, about self-discipline, about being organized, how we organize the day, how we schedule our activities. The next one, what strategies do you use to eat healthy? Sometimes we know our weaknesses and we can design kind of strategies. So in order not to be tempted or not to eat what we don't have to do, have to eat, sorry. Then the next one is what morning routine helps you prepare emotionally for the day? Sometimes we wake up and we are grateful for the new day ahead, and we do some prayers, or we have a special ritual, or we have our tea or our coffee, or we do some exercise or meditation or yoga, depend on the person. Then what do you do with your friends or family to re-energize you? It's very important how we spend our time. If you have high vibes, that now is a tendency, high vibes, good vibes. If you have a good energy, if we have fun with our family and friends, then write your favorite self-care activity that has not been mentioned. We can have another activity that maybe is not mentioned here, but all of these kind of tips help us to improve and develop our empathy. As mentioned, that I want to show you this one. We start in the school as a teachers in the classroom. So if you see this wheel, you can see the importance of our work as a teacher, how this is going to impact the other levels, the other environment. We start in the classroom because it's what concerns us, but the children or teenagers or adults start in their houses with their family. But as a teacher, in the classroom, we can develop this empathy and emotional skills, because we are, I always say that I don't teach just English, I teach values, I teach students to be better citizens. So that's why we have to be aware of this emotional competence, not just the field that we are teaching in the classroom, let's say English, philosophy, math, literature, any field that you are teaching. But empathy, for me, is one of the best skills and competence that we have to be aware of, that we have to embrace, because it's going to impact in the whole school. Imagine if every teacher does the same in each classroom, then the whole school families, and communities. And in the end, it's the whole world. Doesn't matter the culture, doesn't matter the language. Is empathy, is respect for the other, is putting the other shoes. And I remember something that when I was delivering a talk in Qatar last November, and I was talking about citizenship, and one teacher from Egypt, he asked me how can we teach our children, teenagers, to be a global citizenship if we have some things that for us are wrong, or things that we strongly believe. And that question really surprised me. And I say, from my point of view, everything starts with respect. If you respect, doesn't matter the differences, because we respect. I put in your shoes. I can see from your point of view. That is, for me, is the most important thing, because sometimes we tend to judge people, or to stereotype, or to generalize. But if you put in the other shoes, especially when you're teaching people from different countries and cultures, that's happened to me. And when we talk about, for example, celebrations at the end of the end of the year, we all have different events to celebrate. It's not just one. It's not just what I celebrate in my country. It's not just one. For me, I grew up, and my mother, my father, my tutor, my guardian taught me. There are a lot, and it's really nice when we can learn from others. We can understand, for example, tomorrow is, or today, the Lunar New Year. Then we have Ramadan as well. We have Easter as well. So we have a lot of celebrations, and it's nice to be open and to see from others' perspectives, and we can learn from the differences, and we can embrace the differences, and learn from similarities as well, share our similarities, because you see here how this impact in the community. It's not only in the classroom. The classroom is what concerns us, because we are teachers, and we have the power to change, or to at least to plant a seed in the students. So for me, this is a great opportunity. And let's move on, because I came back. Yeah. So here, if you have any other tip that you can feel that's going to help you to develop your empathy, feel free to add it. Which are the takeaways for this session? It's the possibility of increasing the social and emotional intelligence in education fields could be positive for a student community, which can practice empathy with their mates and seek an environment of cooperation, greater understanding of diversity, collaboration, inclusion, sense of belonging, and non-discrimination. Look at the words that I think you already know them, but are very important, especially if you work with teenagers, with children, or with adults that they move to a different country. That happened to me here. They are adults, but they are in a new country, and they behave like teenagers, because they are knowing each other, get to know each other. They are in a new environment, learning a language that they don't manage very well. And it's very important to make the student feel that they are belong. They are part of this society. We don't discriminate. Again, we put in other shoes. We see from their point of view. We feel with them and we help them. I don't say that it's easy. It's not. Sometimes it's not very easy, but we have to try every day a little bit more. Understand that we are one world, and collaborate each other as a teacher, as a colleagues, and I think that is very important to make the other person feel part of the group, of the community. And this is a spectrum that runs from total self-absorption to notice them and begin to tune in, to empathize, to understand their needs, to having empathy, concern, and then compassionate actions, and we help them out and we help us each other practicing empathy. And it's not the same a teacher that practice empathy with their student in the classroom that the teachers don't practice. You can see the difference, and the student also can feel the difference. And I swear, and by my experience, that the students feel the difference because I have a student that they already had different teachers, and the student always speak. I mean, it's like a children that always say, "Mommy, this happened to me," or this. They always tell the truth, and the students are the same, and they tell us what happened before or what they expect, and from then you can learn if the previous teacher practiced empathy with them or not, and how the students remember, or how the children remember this kind of kindness, or this act of kind from the teacher, concern, if they feel part of the community or not. So that's why it's very relevant, this competence, when we are a teacher. Well, here we can see the word that I use for this presentation. And thank you very much for joining us. And please, I'm here to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Maria, for presenting about social emotional learning. I think that's something that's always a big topic in the world of not just education, but in the world of language learning. I did put, again, some great links for you to get a deeper understanding of social emotional learning. There are some great links to the SEL site, which is sponsored by CASEL. And Maria, I have a couple of questions for you about social emotional learning. And
Sure.
I
Go
did
ahead.
also put a link. We do need to see things from different perspectives when it does come to SEL. Because there are still a lot of controversies about that in the world of education as well as language learning. So that's why I put a link to the pros and cons of SEL as well. So my first question to you is it the place of a language teacher to integrate SEL into language learning?
It's a very good question. I think it's not something that I compare this to pronunciation. We don't have a special class. Okay, morning everyone. Today we are going to learn from the phonemic chart. This is this sound, the other sound, schwa. So it's something that we develop every day, like pronunciation every day, that we are learning a new vocabulary. We also write the phonetic of the word. We practice the pronunciation. We drill the pronunciation. So I think this is the same, or at least is what I do. Of course, there are topics that where you can put more emphasize. For example, when you are teaching CLIL, we teach topics, so we can choose a topic, and could be a topic about this, or a topic that the student can reflect about empathy, could be through SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. We have 17 SDGs, and perfectly we can,
I did put a link in
yeah,
the chat box for that as
we
well.
can talk about empathy with the 17 SDGs. Also, when we have events or different celebration, through historic circles by UNESCO. For example, how do you celebrate birthday in your country? How do you imagine that you have a monolingual class, all from Egypt, all from the same country? How do you think in, and you choose maybe 5 different countries, I don't know, the US, Australia, South Africa, Japan, celebrate their birthday. Okay, let's Google, because sometimes according to the school or the country or the rules, the use of mobile phone is a big problem in the class, but we can turn this problem into an opportunity. Okay, Google how people in Japan celebrate birthday, how people in Japan celebrate New Year. Do they celebrate New Year? Do they celebrate Christmas? Do they celebrate Ramadan? Do they depend? So this is another way, through short films as well. So we are creating empathy. We are letting we are letting a student know that there are another reality that yeah, so they can understand, because sometimes we need to understand to I would not say respect, but if you understand, sometimes it's easier